ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतन्त्रात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासवी गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु भिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, chapter number 5, beginning from verse number 10. These are teachings of Lord Rishabdev to his sons, headed by Bharat Maharaj. So we read in the earlier verses where he spoke about the identification in the physical body, and because of that person comes under the influence of karma and then gets into the cycle of birth and death. And he said that unless one develops love for God, one will continue in this bondage with the body. Yavanna priti mai vasudeva namuchyate deha yogena tavat. So we use the word deha yoga, or association with the physical body. And this leads to all other types of moha or delusion. So now it says, Hanse Guru Mai Bhaktya Nuvritya Vitrishnaya Dvandati Tikshaya Cha Sarvatra Janto Vaishnav Gatya Jigyasaya Tapo Sehani Vritya Matkaram Hir Matkathya Cha Nityam Maddeva Sangad Guna Kirtaname Nirvaira Samyop Samena Putra Jihashya Deha Geha Atma Buddhi. So he says that he is calling himself as Hamsa or Swan, and also Guru. Hansa Guru Mai Bhaktyānuvritya. How can one become free from this bondage or attachment to the body? So he says this is by devotion to the Lord, who is speaking here, Rishabdev himself. And he is also the teacher, Guru. So Hanse Guru Mai Bhaktyānuvritya. So unless one becomes devoted to God and Guru, it is not possible to become free from this Because earlier he said that when this knot in the heart becomes slackened, then one realizes this. Otherwise one does not even know that how one is bound to the physical body. So Vitrishnaya Dvanda Titikshaya. And then he gives a list of other things, that Vitrishna means not having material desires. Trishna is like thirst, and Vitrishna means without. And Dvandva Titikshaya, to tolerate the dualities. In the material world we are always faced with dualities of happiness, distress, heat and cold, hunger and thirst and so on. So be tolerant with them, because if you are not tolerant, then you become completely preoccupied with it. As soon as some pleasurable thing comes, we are occupied with that, we become absorbed. Then we don't have the mind to think of God. And if something is unfavorable, then we are absorbed. We want to get rid of that unfavorable situation. And then again we have no time for devotion. So therefore some tolerance is needed. So Brahmatitikshaya. Sarvatra jantor vyasnav gatya. And vyasam means attachment. So everywhere there are attachments. So we have to understand that, have knowledge of it. And so seeing yourself in the mirror, we get knowledge of others' problems, but to have knowledge about your own problem, that's where the beginning of self-realization. To realize yourself. We are all the time trying to realize others, but we have to know ourselves. So jigyasaya tapsa iha nivrittya. And jigyasa means inquisitiveness. To be inquisitive about spiritual life, about God, about spiritual practice. And tapsa is austerity. Voluntarily to take certain vows, fasting or waking up in the morning, or avoiding certain things which we may like. And iha nivrittya, to give up unnecessarily endeavors. Mat karambhir mat kathya cha nityam mad deva sangad guna kirtanam. So performing activities for God. We are always working, so let's do a little bit for God also, sometimes. And mat kathya, also some katha, some talk about God. Yes, always talk, we are always talking. If not talking, then reading somebody's talk on the Facebook. So to have some Krishna katha, some Krishna talk, that is very important. And nityam mad deva sangad, and to have association of the Lord, association of the devotees. So that's very important, because our life depends on association. We become influenced by association. So to associate with like-minded people. Right? If you want to be an Ayurveda expert, then you associate with those who know Ayurveda. If you want to be expert in spirituality, associate with devotees. And gun kirtanam, and to do kirtan. We didn't do it today. So kirtan is important also. Kirtan means to glorify the Lord's name, and they clear the dust from the heart. And then nirvair. Nirvair means not being envious of others. So this also takes a lot of our energy. Mind wastes a lot of energy in useless talks, useless thoughts, useless endeavors, useless plans. So we are envious of others, we become angry at somebody, and then we lose a lot of energy just thinking about it. We will not do anything, but we keep on thinking about it. We may not actually have any ability to take any action, but at least we can act in the mind and keep on fighting within the mind. So nirvair, to give that up. And then samya, become equanimous, balanced, peaceful. Upshamena, controlling the mind. So putra jihasya deha geha atma buddhi. So he is referring to his sons, saying, my dear sons, that you give up this idea of deha and geha. Deha means body, geha means house. So we live in two types of house. One is the house and another is the body house. Body is also a type of house in which we are living, very complex house. And then we keep this house in another house. So he calls this as Deha Geha. And Deha Geha Atma Buddhi is to have Deha and Geha is alright, but to consider it as my own Atma, that is the problem. So Buddhi means awareness and Atma means self. To identify with the body and with the house, that it is me. So he says, give this up. And adhyatma yogena vivikta sevaya pranendriyatma bhijapena sandhyak satshraddhaya brahmacharyena saswad asampramadena yamena vacham. So adhyatma yogena means trying to link up with God, and vivikta seva, also to avoid too much association with people, unnecessarily avoid crowds, be lonely, alone, so you don't get the vibrations. Pranendriya atma vijayana, to control your life airs, doing pranayama, control the senses and the mind. And satshraddhaya, to have shraddha. It's very important. But shraddha in the right thing. Everybody has shraddha, but to have proper shraddha. Shraddha means faith, trust. So faith everybody has in something or the other, but to have sat shraddha. Sat means proper, and sat means God, divine. So that comes by understanding Shastra. And then brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means to be celibate. So if one is married, then not to have relationship outside the marriage, and if one is not married, then not to have any relationship with the opposite sex. That is called brahmacharya. So celibacy means avoiding sexual relationship, or to have sexual relationship only with one's married partner. That is called celibacy. Because that also takes away a lot of energy and disturbance of the mind it creates. And sasvadasam pramadena yamena vacham, and not to be careless, to be careful in one's own activities and control the speech. That is very important. We create a lot of trouble by speaking unnecessarily. Some people have the habit of talking too much. So only speaking whatever is just needed. Otherwise, chant or don't talk. Sarvatra madbhav vichakshanena jnanena vijnana virajitena yogena dhriti Udyam Sattva Yukto Lingam Vyapohetu Kushlo Hamakyam. So he says that Sarvatra Madbhava Vichakshanam, to see the existence of God everywhere. Because God exists in everything. Everything is manifestation of God's energy. So even if we are not seeing Him personally, but at least we know that it's all manifestation of His energy. Living beings, they are also energy of God, and the matter is also energy of God. There are three types of energy He has. The internal energy, the material energy, and the Tatastha energy, or the living beings, the individual living beings. So these are all energy of God. God is the energetic, He is the source. So to know this, then we can become free from envy, anger. We can tolerate. So Sarvatra Madbhava Vichakshanena Jnanena Vijnana Virajitena. And to have proper knowledge, it's very important to have knowledge and also experience. So Vijnana Virajitena. And Yogena Dhriti Udyam Sattva Yukta. To be engaged in yoga, to be forbearing and endeavoring. And Lingam Vyapoheta Kushlo Ahamakyam. So one should give up this way the subtle body, an intelligent person. This is how one becomes liberated. He is giving the process of liberation. So let's read the commentary by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. This process is mixture of bhakti and jnana. In pure devotion there is no need of all this. In pure devotion you all need is pure devotion, that's all. It's not dependent on anything else. And these things happen naturally. You naturally tolerate. If you are a devotee and you have to do service, then you have to tolerate. It's not that it is hot, so I will not do my service because it is hot. Or if it is cold, I will not do my service because it is too cold. Service is service, it has to be done. It's like if you work in an office, you don't say, well, it's snowing outside, so I don't go to office today. Today is heavy rain, so I don't go to office. It's too much hot. Why you make arrangements, you go and you work, otherwise you don't get your salary, or you will be thrown out of your job. So if you are servant of God, you don't get salary, but still we have to work. So then naturally you tolerate, you control your mind. You have to also work with people whom you may not like. So you have to learn to cooperate. You have to give up your envy for others. So these things which on the Jnana Marg one has to practice. On devotion these things happen naturally. If one is devotee in the true sense of the word. So it says, Bhakti Misra Jnanena Linga Bhanga Muktva Jnana Misraya Cha Bhaktya Panchavinsti Angya Linga Bhangamaha Chaturvi. It says that in these 4 verses he is giving the process how to become free from the subtle body, which means how to become liberated by listing 25 items which are part of bhakti mixed with jnana. So here main thing was bhakti. Hansa Guru Mai Bhakti Anuvritya. In the beginning he said bhakti, and then the rest of the things are actually part of jnana. They are not direct bhakti. It is controlling the mind, but this has to do with bhakti. Doing pranayam, that also nothing to do with bhakti. So earlier he gave the process of Bhakti Misra Jnana, means the path of Jnana mixed with Bhakti. where bhakti was secondary and jnana was prominent, primary. Now he is giving the process where bhakti is prominent, and along with that you do some other things also, which are part of jnana. So like he said, vivikta sevaya, to be in a lonely place, that has nothing to do with bhakti. Because in bhakti you may have to be with people or you may have to be alone, it doesn't matter. But Gyan Marg says that don't go to crowded places. Yogis, that's why they go to Himalayas. Of course now in the Himalayas also crowd is going. But previously they went to Himalayas because they wanted to be just aloof. Because you cannot practice yoga if you are in New York. All the maximum yoga centers are in New York City now. So now the yoga has moved from Himalayas to New York. And the crowd is moving from the cities to Himalayas. This is called globalization. This is called mixture. That's what I'm saying. So everything is getting mixed now. Everything is Sankara. Not only one Sankara, but also food Sankara, dress Sankara, and the process Sankara. And the processes are mixed. So he gives this 4 slokas he speaks. Tatrapi Shuddha Bhaktanam Kevala eva Bhaktya Panchadas Angaya Linga Bhangamaha Pratmadvabhyam. So he says, out of these 4 verses, the first 2 verses are talking about pure devotion only. And out of 25 items which are listed, first 15 are related with bhakti. Because it's talked about kirtan, association, and working for me, and my katha. This is pure devotion. But being in a lonely place, not being envious, being balanced, controlling mind, not being attached to house and body, this is not pure devotion, this is jnana. So people don't know. People have no idea what is jnana and what is bhakti. And mostly they mistake the parts of jnana and bhakti. And they consider he is a great devotee because somebody is doing something as part of jnana. So we should be very clear what is bhakti and what is jnana. And for a pure devotee there is no really need for any mixture like that. So that's why he is making these things clear here. Hanse, so he is commenting on these words. Hanse Guru Mai Bhakti Anuvritti. So he is saying that me, who is Hamsa and Guru, to have devotion. So this is Lord Shabda speaking about himself. So Hanse Paramhansa Swarupa. So in the form of Paramhansa or highly enlightened person, my Guru, me, the Guru, Bhakti Ityadi, with the devotion, etc. Ahamakyam Lingam, Ling Deham Vyapoheta Ityam. So one should give up the subtle body. And subtle body is that which hinges around I. This feeling of I, that I am so and so. So I is very important. Right? You may do everything, but I will remain. You can give up many things, but to give up I, that's very hard. So he is giving a process how you can give this up. Because this ling deha, the subtle body, is hanging around I. So there are 2 I, one is the spiritual I, another is the material I. Material I is the acquired I, that is not my real being. And then I am my own Atma, myself, that is a real I in that. So at present these 2 I's, they are together. It's like you have a sandwich, or you have these biscuits, you have cream in between, so they stick together. So it becomes one. So these 2 I's, they are sticking together, And what is making them stick together is the avidya, the ignorance. So ignorance is very tasty. Isn't it? In the biscuit, that middle part is more tasty. Right?
It's my favorite part.
Yeah. So that is the ignorance.
It's not my favorite part anymore.
So people are like ignorance. If you give enlightenment, they become furious. If you put them in ignorance, they are very happy. That's why people take intoxicants, they smoke, they eat all kinds of things, because these things increase ignorance. Anything which increases tamas, people like that. Except if it is a tamas, they don't like that. Yes, tamas?
Well, he's actually Thomas. But yeah, let's keep it. Why?
So people like tamas anyway.
Do they? Some don't. Just to keep a balance, you know.
So in Kali Yuga, tamas is very popular. That's why it is called Kali Yuga. Anything which is tamasic, that people love. That's why it's very difficult to get pure things. Everything is mixed with chemicals, because that is also tamasic. If you want to get pure milk, it is not allowed. You cannot sell pure milk. Government has made a law that pure milk cannot sell. You have to make it tamasic first. First you pasteurize it. Then what is that other thing? Sterilize it. And put some, make it tamasic. Then keep it in the store for 1 week. Then you buy it. Then you keep it in your fridge for another 1 week. Then when it becomes mahatamasic, then you drink it. So then you are happy. So when the milk comes fresh from the cow, that is sattvic. And as the time is passing, it is becoming tamasic. As Krishna says, yatayamam gatarasam puti parinsitam chayat. So the tamasic people, they like such food, he says, which is old. They don't like fresh food. They are against it. They make law against fresh food. So you cannot buy fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, fresh milk. Nothing fresh you can buy in India. Unless you come to India, here you can buy fresh. But in the West, it's difficult to buy anything fresh. And more old it is, and better value. They sell old cheese also. So somebody did that experiment with that hamburger, McDonald's hamburger. It was kept for 1 year, and it did not deteriorate. Yeah, they forgot it. And after 1 year they found and it was still the same.
And then they recreated it by taking a picture of it every day for 365 days, and it didn't change at all.
So this is like soul, which doesn't change. So they put so much chemical in it. They didn't deteriorate. So this is the chemical leela. So he says, bhaktya ahamakyam lingam lingadeham vyapohet, that one should give up this material I. Vitrishnaya niskamtaya. So vitrishnaya means not having any other desire, but desire only to do service. Because you cannot become completely free from desire. So you keep one desire, and other little desires can hang around it. So one main desire is desire to serve God. desire for love for God. That is big, strong desire. And you can have little desires around it. That, okay, I should have good health for that. Right? I should have a nice place to live so that I can do my service. So then you can attach all your desires to this one big desire. And if you don't have this one desire, then all other desires lead to disaster. And if you have one big desire, then all other desires can be accommodated without any problem. And you can have car, house, then this deha, geha will not create problem. So this is the way to solve the problem. That is the bhakti way. In the jnana way is trying to give up. In the jnana you are always trying to give up. Give up this, give up that, give up that. Bhakti you don't accept. So bhakti is the path of acceptance and jnana is the path of rejection. Reject everything, including God. Because ultimately they reject God also. We read in 3rd Canto, Lord Kapil Dev was saying that this jnani, they meditate on the form of God and they meditate intensely, they come to the level of realizing God and then sankairi viyukte, then slowly they take away their mind from God away also. And then it is like the lamp getting extinguished. That is called nirvana. Nirvana means extinguishing the lamp of light. Because you give up everything. Because it is a path of detachment. Detachment means giving. And bhakti is the path of attachment. Proper attachment to God. It is path of love. So in love there is acceptance, right? When you love, you want to accept. When you are in dejection, you don't want anything. So in Gyan Marg, you give up everything. Because there is nothing else which exists ultimately. So this is the major difference. You have to be very careful. What is Gyan and what is Bhakti? All this Sivoham, 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 you are also singing that. This is the Gyan Marg. So this will lead to disaster. So our path is that I am servant of Krishna. Dasam, not Soham. So there is Soham and there is Dasoham. So you have to add Da before Soham. Then it becomes Bhakti. This is the difference between Gyan and Bhakti. In Gyan they say Soham. And in Bhakti, Dasoham. So, says, you give up this linga. So, vitrishna niskamtaya jigyasya bhakter bhajni siyarasya. And then you have to have jigyasa, inquisitiveness about two things. One about God and other how to serve Him. Bas. If you know these two things, then life is blissful. And if you don't know these two things, then your mind is going in the chakkar. It's going in circles, entangled in so many things. So we should be inquisitive to know God and inquisitive to know how I can serve God. All other time we have tried to serve ourselves and have remained dissatisfied. So satisfaction and happiness will come by serving Krishna. So this is the jigyasa. We are very much inquisitive. The inquisitiveness is there inside, but it has to be directed for the right object. So that he says that it should be for bhajaniya, worshipable Lord, and bhajan, the service to that. tapsa, then you have to do little tapasya. So number one tapasya is Ekadasi. Ekadasi Vrat. Ekadasi everybody knows. So Ekadasi is the 11th day in the fortnight. There are 2 fortnights according to the lunar calendar. Ekadasi means 11. So that is the day of Lord Krishna. On that day, fast. So if you are a Pitta, then don't do complete fast. If you are a Kapha, then you can do complete fast. If you are Vata and Pitta type, then you eat some fruits and some nuts you can take. Pitta can take nuts also, because they have big fire. And Kapha can fast, take some juice. So that is called tapasya. Kartikadi, Kartik, every evening in Kartik you give lamp to Lord Damodar. We learned the story yesterday. So these are simple type of tapasyas you perform. Vrat Lakshnena, Vishnu Vaishnav Seva Nibandhana, Sviya Bhojan Senadi, Sankocha Lakshnena. And then some more tapasya is saying that you take some vow to do service, that I will chant every day these many names of God. And some Vaishnava Seva, doing service to Vaishnavas, service to the cows. So these are the type of austerities, penances for Vaishnavas are prescribed. In Gyan Marg there are other types of. Then Sviya Bhojan Sayanadi Sankocha Lakshana. If you want to do little more tapasya, then you can reduce your diet. If you are eating 4 chapatis, make it 3. Right? Ayurveda also says that when you eat, then fill half of the belly with food, 1/4 with liquid, and keep 1/4 empty. So that is called balanced eating. If you do that, you will remain healthy. So this is also prescribed here. And Shayana, also reduce little bit of your sleep. Yes, not in India, it's in Vrindavan. Because you don't have mics everywhere. It's only in Vrindavan that you have them. They won't let you sleep. Because they say that if you want to sleep, why come to Vrindavan? After all, you spend money and you come here and sleep. Could have slept in your own house. So if you come to Vrindavan, don't sleep. So therefore they keep you awake. Or at least they wake you up early morning. So that's only in Vrindavan, not everywhere. So this is also part of penance, tapasya. Iha nivritya vyaparantar rahityena, and not doing any other things. Like people want to go for sightseeing or some picnic weekend. So in bhakti there is no weekend. Because these other people, they are weak. So when they work during the week, after that they feel very weak, then they need to relax. But devotee is strong, he works whole week. There is no Monday and Sunday, no distinction. So there is no holiday in bhakti. So therefore it says Vyaparantar Rahityena. Ahameva Deva Prabhur Yasham Tais Sangat. And then he says Mad Deva Sangat. That to associate with people who are devotees. So this is not easily available. For this you have to come to Vrindavan. If you go outside Vrindavan, then devotee association is not easily available. You can get, but not so easily. So association with devotee is very important and very rejuvenating. It is like a tonic. So Lord Kapila also says that whenever the devotees meet together, then bhavanti hitkarana rasayana katha, prasangat. Then there is katha, which is like tonic. Like people take this is called power drinks. So when he is associated with the devotees, it is like a power drink for bhakti. So this is very important. One cannot associate physically and associate through Ustream, right? Or YouTube, Skype, many of these things, Facebook. So this is good medium to associate, and once in a while it is also good to associate physically, personally. So you can feel this, isn't it? When you associate, it's very rejuvenating. You feel happy, empowered, relaxed, no tension, no anxiety. Yes, Thomas? So this is the purpose of coming to holy places like Vrindavan. So it says Nirvaram Madveshtritvam, and not having any dvesha towards devotees specifically, not being envious or having any hatred. Because envy, jealousy is there in the material world, because people want to attain something and things are limited. So there are more people and resources are limited, so there is a competition. And there is only one post for president, but many people want to be president. They have to compete, and they are envious of each other, and whoever becomes, then others become jealous of that person. But in the spiritual world there is no such thing. Everybody can become devotee of Krishna. He has place for everyone, and he has power to love everybody. So one doesn't have to become envious. If someone is making progress, we should be happy. In the material world, when someone makes progress, then people become jealous of that. The spiritual quality is that we should appreciate that and try to associate with such people. So that is called nirvana. And samyam anyasya sukha dukhyo swasukh dukh samya bhavana. Samya, he gives a meaning that when other people are having happiness, you also feel happy. If they are feeling unhappy, you also try to console them, empathize. Upsama krodh shokade tesham dandakyam, and try to control your anger and never be in distress. Because these are all disturbance to one's service. When you are angry, you cannot serve properly. If you are depressed, dejected, feeling sad, then also you cannot serve. So, one of the quality of a devotee is that he is always enthusiastic. There is no reason for him to become depressed. Always fired up. And dvandakyam tena deha gehadi swatmiyatva buddhe tyag samarthyepi tyagechaya. So tolerate the dvandvas, the dualities, and asampramadena kartavya se aparityagena, and never to give up one's duty. So always very dutiful. The devotee feels very responsible because he always thinks that I am doing it for God. So how can one become careless? Some people are careless. You give them some job and they procrastinate. Don't do it in time, or don't do it properly, or don't take interest. But if we know that this is being done for God, then one feels very responsible for that. Because if you are in the spiritual world and you have to do something for Krishna, you cannot say, well, I will do it tomorrow. Well, then he is not happy. He has many people who can do. So you lose your chance. So one is very attentive. Even while doing things, we remain attentive, not careless. So this pramad happens when mind wanders here and there. Inattention, inadvertence. So these things happen when we are not focused. If we are focused, if we are remembering what we are doing, for whom we are doing, then such things don't happen. So kartavyasya parityagena madbhava chakshnena madhiya satta darshanena, and then seeing God's existence in everything. So that also makes one very attentive to see God's presence in everything. So devotee does not think that this job is very insignificant and I am a big person. How can I do this? How can I wash plates? Or how can I sweep? We have had people here like this, that they will not do anything like this. You ask them to lift one plate, how can I do that? I am a Brahman. I never did this. So in devotion there is no such thing like that, Brahman, Kshatriya. That's why devotee is beyond all this designation. You can do anything. If it is service to God, I can clean toilet also. So that is all in varnashram. But in bhakti, devotee can do anything. So that's how you transcend your bodily designation, because this Brahman, Kshatriya, Dasa, this is related with physical body. The Atma, the soul, the consciousness is not Brahmana or Kshatriya or this or that. It's part of God. It's not even male and female. The consciousness does not have gender. It's beyond all these designations. So when one becomes a devotee, this is how one transcends all this. So when one remains aware like this, then these types of problems don't come. Many times we become hurt because someone says something, or men say something bad about women, and they are hurt. But actually try to rise beyond that. Don't just look for liberty, look for liberation. Somebody is asking the difference between liberty and liberation. So liberty is at the bodily level, and liberation is at the level of consciousness. So at the level of consciousness, we are beyond all this. So when we identify too much with our body, then we become disturbed also too much. So identification, if it is necessary for service, then it is alright. But if it is only becoming an obstacle in service, then don't identify. So this, therefore it says, Madhya Satta Darsane, to see my presence in everything. And Vijnana Virajitena, Vijnana Jankena. So this will give you experience. And you will start seeing the presence of God in everything. Then you will start having realizations. People talk about realization. So realizations will come. because it is a fact. Not that God is not existing, it is a fact. Shastra is not telling lies. It's not imagination. It is reality. But that reality will become visible to us when we make an effort, when we try to change our consciousness, we try to elevate our awareness, then it becomes manifest. Anubhav jankatvam jnanasya virajanam iti bhava. So he says this. He says that the purpose of this type of awareness is to give you experience. So experience is not going to happen just automatically, that you do things mechanically. People try to do their service mechanically and then they think that experience will happen. They are even chanting mantra, doing kirtan mechanically. No, it has to be done with proper awareness. If you do it mechanically like a parrot, then go on doing it. It will take very, very long time to have any experience. So to do it with awareness, then it will bring experience. So this is very important. Therefore it says that Vijnana Vijnanena Vijnana Virajitena, that jnana which will lead you to experience. If you will actually have realization. One is theoretical understanding and the other is that you feel it, you know it for sure. It's not just because somebody says, but it is your own experience, anubhav. Yogena ashtangena sattvam utsaham vyapoheta narasyet. And yoga is ashtanga yoga. And also do yoga to keep your body fit, your mind also balanced. So that is a good system. Yoga is very good for keeping good health. And then he says sattvam. Sattvam literally means existence. It comments as utsaha. So utsaha means enthusiasm. To be always enthusiastic. Sometimes we become dejected because you say, oh, I'm doing this for so many years but I don't feel anything. So never become dejected. Dejection comes because lack of faith. When I have faith, I can never become dejected. I will always remain enthusiastic. So materialistic people, they never become dejected. They don't become dejected that I am fed up with this materialism, let me become a devotee. Right? They never do that. They fail, they want to try it again and again. But people on the spiritual path become dejected very quickly. And they start criticizing and it is useless. So take example of materialists, how they remain very steady in their goal and they never think of giving it up and become a spiritualist. So unless someone preaches to them, tells them, then they make, but by themselves they never think. So why shall we think that we have to give up and become like them? That all that we have already experienced. There is no need to go back to that. So these are the principles which he has recommended for spiritual advancement. So I'll stop here if there is any question on this.
About this improvement of character, how is that bhakti?
Bhakti, first, what is bhakti? You have to know.
Bhakti is service to the Lord.
Yeah. So what do you mean by improvement of character?
For example, not being envious and not.
Yeah, so if you are not envious and not doing service, so if you are a gentleman or a lady or a gentleman,
There's no meaning.
you are helping others, you are doing social service, you are truthful, but you don't do any service to God. So that's why in Krishna's pastime there are people who were very nice. Duryodhana was not so bad as you think. Very nice people. Karna, he was a very great man of character. If you read about Karna, he was a person of great character. He was very dedicated, very truthful, very charitable. Right? But not on God's side. He was so charitable that when he was lying on the battlefield, he was not dead. And Krishna wanted to show that how charitable he is. So two Brahmanas went to him and asked for some charity. So he said, I'm about to die, I have nothing to give. So he said, well, we heard that you are very charitable and nobody has ever went empty-handed from you. So he said, yes, that is true. But now in such a situation, he said, anyway, do one thing, that I have golden teeth, you can pull them out. They are very valuable. So the Brahmana said, I cannot do that. This is not my character to pull somebody's teeth. So Karna said that I am so helpless now that I don't have the strength to pull it, otherwise I would have given up. So he started walking away, and then he rolled over and there was a stone lying there. Then he hit his mouth on the stone and broke his teeth. And he says, please take them, don't go like this. So he was a person of such character. But he is not glorified as a hero in Bhagavatam. Although he was very heroic. He was not less hero than Arjuna in fighting. He had so many qualities. He was actually their elder brother. He is son of sun god. But just because he is not devoted, therefore he is to be killed. This is the moral. So when somebody has a bad character, then we can understand that how he has a bad character. What is this. But problem comes when someone has a good character or all these good qualities. That's what I was saying, that people confuse bhakti with all this. So one has to very minutely analyze what is bhakti, otherwise we can waste our time doing things which are not devotional. And people are doing that. And they think they are doing bhakti. And they say we don't get experience. So that's why I said jigyasa, inquisitiveness, proper understanding. Srimad.
If bhakti is the service to God, and one cannot do bhakti if he or she is alone in the Himalaya. So what are these people doing? They are staying alone in the Himalaya.
No, Himalayas also you can do bhakti, but it is not necessary that you have to go to Himalayas. also you can sit and chant God's name, that is also bhakti, or meditate on God. But it is not prerequisite that one has to go to Himalayan. Means it is not a necessary condition. In case of yoga, it is necessary. It is better be lonely. You cannot practice yoga in crowded place.
But you can stay alone and doing bhakti.
Yeah, you can do. Bhakti can be done anywhere.
So, when you speak about chanting, for example, with awareness, what do you mean with awareness? Can you describe a little bit?
Means you are aware that you are chanting the name of God.
Yes.
Not that you are chanting with your tongue and your mind is wandering here and there, and you don't even know that you have chanted. So that's what I mean. Focusing on the
So, like hearing sound, understanding what you're doing.
hearing what you are chanting.
When you said that a soul is a part of God, so every living creature, human beings have soul. So how come people who are good and do service to other people, but are
What?
So why people who give service are good in general to other people, but are not devoted to God? Why they are just good, but they won't be glorified or saved?
Because they are doing it not for the pleasure of God, they are doing it for their own pleasure. They feel they get sense of satisfaction for themselves by doing that. So the problem, the real problem is, the root cause of all problem is to think that you are separate from God. Okay, that is the problem. Now when you think you are separate from God, then you can do things which are moral, you can do things which are immoral. Things which are charitable, social, which people call as good or bad. But from point of view of bhakti, both are useless. Because the person is thinking that he or she is independent of God. So bhakti has its own outlook of what is good and what is bad. And other than bhakti and the other systems, there are other parameters how to see what is good and what is bad. So Krishna says, Uddhava asked this question to Krishna, what is good, what is wise and what is virtue? So he gave a very nice answer. He says there is a guna dosa, drisi, dosha, gunastu bhevarjita. He says that this idea that this is good and this is bad, this itself is a vice. And virtue is to give up both. That is possible only in bhakti. So what people consider as good and bad in the material world in general, from bhakti point of view, both are bad. This is another vision. So, because this is absolute vision. Otherwise, what is good and what is bad, it may be good and bad for some and not good and bad for others. It may be good in one country and not good in another country. So bhakti gives you an absolute parameter where good is good and bad is bad. And the parameter is that if you are devoted to good, God, and if you don't think yourself as independent of God, then you are good and whatever you do is good. And if you think you are independent of God and you are not devoted to God, then you are bad and whatever you do is bad. It doesn't matter who you are and what you do. You may be very charitable and feeding people and you may be doing anything. It's all bad. So this is from bhakti point of view. Because the ultimate result is not good. What is the use of you feed these people and what comes out of it? They eat and they pass stool. What else do they do? And then they will do nonsense in the society after that. So how do they contribute to spirituality? And we are discussing that if something does not contribute to spirituality, then it has no meaning. The whole talk he said Nayam, that is the first sloka he says. Nayam deho deha bhajam nirloke. He says that this body does not deserve to be utilized. Vidbhujam ye, like the pigs, to engage this body in attaining things which a pig is doing. So that's not a human birth. Kastam kaman arhate vidbhujam ye. Tapo divyam putraka yena suddhe Saukhyam hi Brahm Ananta. Brahm Saukhyam hi Ananta. So he said that human life is not meant for doing all this good and bad, which animals are also doing. So human life is meant for doing something superior. And if one is not doing that, then from his point of view it has no meaning. So that's what Krishna showed in his pastimes. Because he made people like Jarasandha to be killed. You read the character of Jarasandha or character of Karna, or even Bhishma. Tomorrow we are going to read story about Bhishma. He himself brought all these people to listen from Bhishma. Bhishma is a Mahajan. He is a great devotee. It's not that he is not a devotee. He is not just a devotee, but a very great devotee. But Krishna got him also killed because he was taking wrong side. So it's very amazing when you see practically what he did. So you have to have a very sharp vision. How can kill Bhishma? Even Arjuna was bewildered. How can I kill this man? He is such a great person. They were not ordinary people. This is how Bhagavad Gita begins. So very fine discrimination.
So if punya doesn't help, so am I right that punya doesn't help?
Not in bhakti.
But please explain. For example, to come here, you have to spend some amount of money, which usually is understood like a person has done some good deeds, has good karma, so now
This is not related with karma.
so bhakti is just by mercy of God.
You do, but if you are earning money to come here, that is also part of bhakti. It's like it is said that when you do yajna, you collect wood and you collect all these grains. Yajna is not only pouring the oblations into fire, but collecting ingredients is also part of yajna. So if you are making money to come here, and this is as a part of devotion, then that making money is also part of devotion. It's not punya, it's not good karma, it's also bhakti.
If something is already in the store, it will just washed out with the passing of time. I mean, any punya or papam also, they will just wash out.
This pap punya don't work here.
Usually, especially for example, if somebody is new, there will be a large store of karma, both good and bad, right?
Yeah, but if one surrenders truly to a bona fide guru, that is removed.
In the moment of surrender.
That's Krishna himself is saying that you surrender to me and I remove all that. Because again I try to understand, it is not something mystical that happens. You can understand it philosophically. Because surrender means what? That now I am not independent. And karma hangs on you when you think you are independent. As long as you think you are independent, you are under the law of karma. When you think you are not independent and you surrender to God, now karma is not applicable to you. Where will it hang? I already said that karma hangs around the ego.
So it just disappears or what?
It has no place. Because now if the Guru says that you do this, you do that. Don't do this, don't do that. Previously you will be working according to your own desires. So you are free. But that means you have to be actually surrendered, truly, not just say by verbally and still keep on your own ego and continue. And it doesn't work that way. So it has to be, it's very scientific.
And if we are speaking about some great devotees who are for sure devoted and surrendered, like as Goswamis and so, like this, but nevertheless they have some their own fate, which is usually understood like some karma is maturing and manifesting. So in this case, how can we understand if they don't have karma? Because
No,
they are
it is not
surrendered?
karma, it is all Krishna is arranging for them, whatever it may be.
Just the part of will of God, their lives.
Krishna is teaching them or teaching somebody or making them understand. That is Krishna's arrangement, not karma. It's not considered as karma anymore. It may look like that. It's like Krishna comes, he also acts like others. If Krishna was here and you would have seen him, you would not think as you think of Krishna now. Now we are hearing stories and we see we have a different picture. But if you saw him walking, you may not even recognize him. He is walking like another Indian looking fellow. Many people didn't, actually most people did not know that he is God. It is only because we are reading and all the time he is God and Krishna is God. When he was there, hardly few people knew that he is God. He was just like anyone else. Only thing is that he did some extraordinary things. Even then they didn't think he is God. Shishupal was saying, oh, this is crazy, these guys unnecessarily glorifying this fellow. What have you done? He just killed one snake. Killed one woman. Who is that Kshatriya who will kill a woman? And they are praising him for that. This is what he was saying. So when God comes, he behaves like that. Not to speak of great devotees, they also look. It's like anyone else. So it's not easy to figure this out.
About Bhishma being Bhajan and everything, and also devoted and having a lot of knowledge of bhakti and everything. And then he felt obliged to be on the side of Buddha. And this is the reason why he was depending financially for him. So this was really his motive, why he decided to stay on the side of Buddha. So means that for a devotee, you have to be always on the side of the Lord.
Yes.
So Bhishma did a mistake. He should be, if he would be perfect, he would be change the side.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We should give up. Anyway, this is for us to learn. If this thing does not happen, we will not know these minute things. If you want to analyze, okay, Bhishma should have gone there, but then we would not know what one has to do in such a situation, because the story you will not understand like this. But Bhishma stayed there and Krishna got him killed. So now we know that he made a mistake. So we can understand. So we can also think that Bhishma did this for us to learn this. It doesn't matter for Bhishma, he is a devotee anyway, whether he is this way or that way. When Krishna personally was present when he was leaving his body, and he was meditating. So just to show the character of Bhishma, and Bhishma is doing this so that we can understand this point. That's why it is called Leela. It's to educate humanity.
So, my experience of bhakti, my small experience of being involved in this, it's the japa is always there. But you don't, and Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita that the japa is, if I am austerity, tapas, I am japa. But here he's not speaking about the japa, the really sitting and chanting. I don't understand why he's not emphasizing, putting.
But he is not listing everything. He says to do devotion. And say, my Guru Bhakti Anuvritya. So this has to do bhakti to me. Now, bhakti includes everything. You also do not do about kirtan and arti or offering food, so many things you did not say. And this word bhakti includes all that.
Yeah, but you are speaking about tapasya, austerity.
Yeah.
So it seems that for this part it's not an austerity, it's just a part of
No,
bhakti.
because Krishna does not say that japa is tapasya. He says that yajnanam jap yajnasmi, that among the yajnas I am jap yajna.
Okay, sacrifice. Okay, not tapasya.
He's calling this as a yajna, not tapasya.
Somehow I feel I have some kind of problem with this word like service, because when I'm doing japa, I'm trying to put my mind that I have to do it for Krishna, then it comes, does he really need it? Does he really need that I do japa or I do this or that? It feels to me he doesn't need this small act of me. It kind of like, honestly, I'm doing it for myself, to feel myself better. But does Krishna need all these things?
Krishna doesn't need anything.
So then I'm like, I stop to feel like so serious. Maybe he doesn't need, okay, I don't do today, like maybe we'll do tomorrow. So I'm not getting like very serious about this.
So he does not need anything, but he wants that you become devoted to him. And that is, he desires this for your sake.
Yes, then for my sake again.
Yeah, but that is his desire. Okay? So you do this because this is his wish, although it is benefiting you. You understand? And this is
He
what
doesn't need surface, he needs to catch.
This is what love means. Because in love is only for the other's pleasure. So Krishna wants that you love him because this is the best thing for you.
Yes.
So that's why he is saying it. Otherwise he is Atmaram. So you do that by doing this he gets pleased. So if thinking that this is service to him and why he doesn't need any service, then you say, well, this is pleasing to him. And then you say, well, does he really need it? No, he doesn't need it, but still we do it. Because we are not thinking of God as Brahman who is self-satisfied, doesn't need anything. We are seeing God as a person. And although he is complete in himself, yet he wants love. So although he is perfect, he is complete, yet he is, you can say, hungry for love. So we do this so that we express our loving feelings, and that is pleasing to.
So whatever is pleasing for him, we can say this is service.
Yeah, that's what service means.
So can you please speak more about what is pleasing for him so that we know?
That's what we reading.
It seems that we mixed neediness and love in our life. We think that if we fulfill the need of somebody, it's love, or if we feel our need, but it seems because Krishna has no need, so it's like free. It's like there is no need there. It's not about I have to or I need to. It's just experiencing love. It's not even fulfilling something.
Well, you can think like this, that you are part of God and your design is to love Him. You are designed for that.
Because even I feel like I cannot love God. Only I receive love.
Yeah,
from
nobody
God.
can love God. You see,
Yes.
that this is what you have to understand, that
Yeah.
nobody can love Him and nobody can please Him. Nobody can serve Him. We have no capability to serve or please or love Him. But this inspiration which we get is also coming from Him only. So, if this inspiration is coming, then we do act on that inspiration. Otherwise, without His inspiration, it is not possible. So this is a little bit complicated issue.
Yeah. That's why there are too many materialist people, because without mercy not possible,
It's not possible.
even to change a little bit your mind.
Although we are talking all these things, but the fact is that without God's grace and that which is grace which is causeless, no one can actually do any service. But knowing that service is to be done to God, at least if that much we have understood, and bhakti comes by grace of God, then we make an effort for it. Although even that effort and that inspiration is still coming from Him only. Because He is the cause of all causes. The whole idea of this philosophy is that there is only one ultimate truth. But this ultimate truth is not something, we are quite used to thinking things wrong and right, black and white, 0 and 1, this binary system, this duality, this is our mind thinks. But absolute reality is not like that. That's why it becomes complicated. That's why our philosophy is called Achintya Bheda Bhed. You can understand Bheda, different. You can understand non-different. It's hard to understand something which is different and non-different simultaneously. It's very difficult to understand. This is how reality is. We can understand day and we can understand night. But hard to understand something which is day and night together simultaneously. So God is independent and we are part of God, and God gives His mercy causelessly, and still I have to make an effort. So this is how it is. Doesn't make sense. So we have to hear it again and again and start making sense. Because the absolute reality is something like that.